Good evening and welcome to Sing Up Hot Topics Facebook Live on Vocal Style. I'm Charlotte Law and I'm part of the learning team here at Sing Up, and we're also joined this evening by members of our team. We've got Claire, Hannah and Emily, and they're going to be learning the song with us. We're very privileged to have Emily Barden here, writer of this year's Sing Up Day song Be the Change. Emily is a renowned singer-songwriter and has written numerous songs for Sing Up. In fact, you've written the last 3 Sing Up Day songs. And she's also led training for us. Emily is a professional singer and composer and works with West Sussex Music Hub as well as Friday afternoons. She is an experienced choral leader and vocal arranger and runs several adult community choirs, and has even written a book for Trinity as part of their singing syllabus, which is very exciting. We're going to be focusing this evening on vocal style, and we're going to be using Be the Change to demonstrate ways in which to do this. As ever, we'd like you to join in, so please send in your questions. We're going to be receiving those live, and we've got Emily's going to answer some questions first about vocal style, and then she's going to be teaching us the song. So that's the plan for this evening. This, in order to give you a bit of context, this is our 9th Sing Up Day. And the idea is that you sing as much as possible on the day, in as many settings and contexts as possible. Everyone can get involved, and the song is very singable for people from age 4 and upwards. There's a unison version and a harmony version, and they can all be found at www.singup.org/singupday. And it's all about spreading the joy of singing as far and wide as possible. So this year's song was commissioned by our team, and it's all about the difference that each of us can make and the call that we have to be the change we want to see in the world. So with that in mind, I'm going to jump into some questions for Emily. We're going to talk a little bit about the song commission and how it was written, and then, as I say, we'll learn some of the song with our team. Please be sure to keep sending in your questions as we chat. So, Emily, when we commissioned the song this year, the brief was, as ever, a very full one, and we asked for an uplifting anthemic song, singable for children aged 4 and upwards. And I just wondered how you found that as a brief.
Like you said, it was a very wide brief, being asked to write something that is singable by everybody, from reception age children, 4-year-olds, right the way through to primary and then secondary and then community choirs outside of that. It is a massive brief. I suppose, thanks. But I suppose at the bottom of that all, thanks very much. At the bottom of it all is that you just needed a really strong melody. That was, that had to carry it. It had to be something that was going to be instant in order to capture the imaginations of 4-year-olds straight away. I also knew it needed to have something very repetitive and very hooky, that even if they couldn't manage all of the words, that there was one bit in the song that kept coming back that they could instantly pick up. And within one listen through, I think, as soon as you've heard Be the Change, you know that Be the Change bit, and then that means you can just build on that. So there will always be something that everybody can be included in. So that was a big part of how I approached writing the song, was to find that hook.
And in terms of the musical inspirations for the song, were there any kind of places or people that you went to for inspiration?
Yes, absolutely. I was sort of guided to think maybe down the 80s have come back again, which is amazing. So to sort of maybe think about something that was slightly 80s influenced, but with a modern twist on it. And so I went to Michael Jackson, and to one of I think is one of the best songs ever, which is Man in the Mirror. A really, really fantastic anthemic song, and again, something that just grows. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the song develops, and it's got this really strong sort of come and sing feel about it. You just can't help yourself joining in. So I wanted to write something that felt like that you just couldn't resist joining in and singing along with. So yeah, if you can spot a little bit of Man in the Mirror in this song, then it is intentional.
There we go, that's your challenge. How do you go about the songwriting process? It's fascinating for people, who aren't in the know, to understand the process of receiving a commission and going, about writing a song and delivering it?
It's a brilliant process, writing a song, and I don't think it's ever the same twice. I don't think that I don't have a formula, I don't have a way of working. It's sort of about allowing the initial seed of an idea. That's all you need. You just need that one little bit to arrive. So for me, it was about listening to similar sorts of songs, and then just letting it mull in my brain as I was in the garden or walking or swimming. If I do something else, so a displacement activity, something outdoors, something physical, that's when my ideas happen. Right. And that's certainly where it's just started. Just one day, I had this little, I was like, okay, cool. And then I was thinking about inspirational people and people who said things that could sum up something so big, such a big sentiment, but in small words. So I was looking at inspirational speakers and quotes, and then I found Gandhi, who said, "Be the change you want to see in the world," and thought, oh, well, there you go, he's done it, that's it. And then, of course, with the whole reference to Man in the Mirror, that he's got that big change moment, I thought, okay, so change, this is a really important word. So I just sort of took the front bit of the Gandhi statement, and I thought, well, actually, be the change does it. And then as soon as that was there, that little kernel of an idea, the rest of it came incredibly quickly, actually, because that was just, all I was doing was building the rest of it. I had the core of the song.
So you said that you had a hook in terms of melody, and then you found that, in essence, the title of the song was the core of the meaning. Do you tend to write lyrics first, tune? Does it happen organically at the same time? Does it change depending on songs?
Yeah, it does change. I think that initial hook, lyric and melody have to come together. I have to know what that is going to be, what is going to be the sort of the nub of the song. And then the lyrics, I think, came, again, if you actually look at my process of like books full of, loads of scrawly writing. I was doing a songwriting workshop last week with a load of school children, and sort of explaining or trying to explain my process, and it's just sheets and sheets of paper with scrawly writing on it, things crossed out, arrows, linking other sections. It's just one great big thought process until you can distill it down to the best version that does what it needs to do in the most succinct way.
Great. I was also wondering, in terms of part of our brief, we always want a song that is accessible for children of a young age, right through to adult buyers. And I was interested in how you go about arranging with a vocal range in mind.
So, with any of these sort of sing-up day songs, or any songs that are going to be about sort of large participation, I tend to work with the C to C. I sort of, just in my mind, that is a safe place to be, that if the majority of your work is within that range, middle C to the C above that actually it's going to be okay for everybody. And then you can actually put, as long as 80% of the melody sits within that, then you can have some that go a bit low and some that go higher than that, but that fundamentally you're in the right kind of ballpark for everybody's voices to be safe. And then you can sort of embellish with additional harmonies, because I just love harmony. It's all about harmony. I can never just write one line before I know it. I put all the backing vocals on it. So it's about putting on those extra high harmonies for anybody that's happy singing up there, but also, and I've noticed this with the recent sing-up briefs, that there's always been something about a changing voice part for boys to sing, and I think that that's a really brilliant thing, to acknowledge that you need to have something that fits the voice, that you're not just trying to force a voice to fit a song, but that within every song you're always identifying a bit that actually, even with the most limited range, you will be able to be joining in with this. So that's a new thing to think about, actually, and it's been a really good thing to have to think about, to ensure that everybody can sing this regardless of what's going on. So yes, there is a lower part that's got a much smaller register for any changing voices.
And I was also wondering, with the theme of vocal style in mind, when you're writing a song, is that very much in the forefront of your mind? And are there, depending on the style of the song, are there certain stylistic, pieces or instruments or techniques that you use for certain styles?
I think, yes, there are certain techniques that you use, and for this one I wanted the chorus to have a kind of a gospel-y feel. So the idea of a call and response, that somebody would do a be the change, and then you've got a change, you've got this sort of echo, big block chords coming in. So that's make it sound gospelly. And I think that the rest of it is about how you choose to write. Actually, space is really important in this particular style, so that it's not just word, word, but the use of rests, the use of syncopation, the use of just actually not singing for a little bit, just gives it all that just room to breathe. So if you're trying to spread a message, actually time to think about what it is that you've just sung. So there are moments in this where actually you're not singing, you're just having a little reflect on what it is, a little sway, and a reflect on what it is that you've just said.
I actually know that in terms of who you use a song with, that's really beneficial to younger children, to EAL pupils, to SEN pupils. Having that space is also a really helpful tool for learning the song.
Yeah, it's great. You just get that little moment to sort of think about what's just happened, but also to prepare for what the next section's going to be. It's not a sort of constant thing. There is this room to think.
Brilliant. Well, we have done lots of thinking, lots of pausing.
Yeah.
I think that now would be a good time to jump straight in. You're going to teach us, which parts of the song are you thinking about teaching us?
I think it would be really good to have a look at, because basically there are three main parts to the song. There is a verse section, there is a little pre-chorus section, and then there is the chorus, which is the sort of the main event. And I think it would be useful to look at all three of those sections, because in terms of style and what you're trying to achieve in those three sections, they are different. So you would actually have different techniques that you would look at, and certainly the way in which you would teach it would be different for the three sections. So that might be a nice way to do it.
But I'd like to encourage everybody at home to join in. Very much the Sing Up ethos is to both be part of it. So wherever you are in the country, across the world, please do feel free to join in. So if I'd like to ask Emily, Claire and Hannah back to the stage.
Okay. Hello, choir.
Hello.
Okay, stay up. So we'll just start with just a little bit of a warm-up, just to check that we're all in the right place singing. So if you can just give your knees a little bit of a shake, just check that you're not locking them. We don't want to be like soldiers, we want to be relaxed. So give your shoulders a wiggle. Lovely, take a nice deep breath in and breathe out. Lovely, bring your shoulders right up to your ears when you breathe in, make yourself really tense. And then breathe out and let it all go. And there you go, that's where your shoulders need to be. Just give me a great big smile. Lovely. Give me a sticky look forward throat. Very nice, very good. And a big face. And a small face. Lovely. And then have a bit of a chew. If it's loud, it's disgusting. Apologies. Lovely. And then let's just have a little bit of a siren. So we're just going to go up and down our range on an sound. So if we say sing and hold the last two notes, we're just going to go sing, off you go. Sing. Great. If we do the same thing, but I'm going to draw some shapes. You just follow it with your voice. Off we go. Sing. Sing. Lovely. And just some quick things just to access our head voice, just to make sure that we're all okay up there. If you can just copy this. Yoo-hoo! Yoo-hoo! Okay. And then our more spoken voice. Hi. Hi. How are you today?
How are you today?
Fine. Fine. Woo. Woo. Did you? Excellent. All right then. Shall we get cracking with this song?
Yes. Here we go.
So we're going to start with the verse. Now this is quite spoken, so we don't need lots of "there's always." It's quite low key. Okay, so we're just going to be a bit cool about it. So if I sing and then you just copy, we're going to do this. There'll always be a reason why. 2, 3, 4.
There'll always be a reason why.
Lovely. And with the why, we don't need a big why. Just why. Kind of throw it away. There'll always be a reason why. 2, 3, 4.
There'll always be a reason why.
That, much better. It seems like a really little thing, but the endings, it can really sort of shape the feel of something. I mean, if you go why, why.
It seems too difficult to even try. Before we do that one, can we just rap? Difficult. 2, 3, 4. Difficult. Brilliant. It seems too difficult to even try. It seems too difficult to even try. Fantastic. The world is changing every day. 2, 3, 4. The world is changing every day. How can we make sure that we have our say? How can we make sure that we have our say? Brilliant. And you notice that those last ones, have our say, they're all pushed. So we'll go, have our say, have our say. So it might be worth just sort of just clapping that rhythm if you were working with children, just to get that, have our say. Have our say. Have a go. Have our say. Have our say. Have our say. Fantastic. And you sort of can't help but move your body then when you feel that you're getting the rhythm right. Okay, let's have a go all the way through from the beginning. There'll always 1, 2, 3, 4. There'll always be a reason why. 2, 3, 4. It seems too difficult to even try. The world is changing every day. How can we make sure that we have our say? Fantastic, really, really brilliant. What might be lovely for this, if you don't mind, is to try not all singing this together. The shape of this song is that it builds. So we start off with something little, not much range, just a sort of, it's quite small, and then as the song gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So it might be nice to try doing that with little voices. Don't need your voices a little. So that we just went down the line. So if we started, Emily, and that you just sang that first line on your own, and then we went to Hannah and then to Claire. I won't do one, and then Charlie, you can finish. Do you want to give that a little go? I'll put the track on, and then you can just try singing that along. That would be brilliant. Okay, let's have a little look at there. Here we go. So if you just sort of start this feel beat, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. There'll always be a reason why. It seems too difficult to even try. The world is changing every day. How can we make sure that we have a say? Fantastic. So at that point we have one of those spaces I talked to you about. So we've just got 4 bars where I always just sway. And sway. And sway. And we just sort of get into the feel of it. And then that starts to show that actually this is going to be a song that we can move to. So don't be frightened to introduce movement at, quite early on in that. So when we get to that point, we will just have a little and sway, and sway, and sway. And then all together, we will sing the second verse so that we've already built up from the individual voices to a slightly bigger sound. It's exactly the same rhythmically, it's just we've got some new words. The one we need to think about instead of difficult is treasure it. And actually that's quite difficult. So if we could just try going, treasure it. Treasure it. There's a lot going on there. So really it might be worth doing that one. Picking out these words, you could use them as your warm-up just to practice doing some, difficult. Treasure it, just to sort of get those just to get your diction lips moving. Exactly. So if we can try that, we are the future of this earth. All together, off we go. We are the future of this earth. We need to treasure it to know its worth. Let's be the ones who really care. Let's make the world a place that's kind and fair. Fantastic. So let's make the world a place that's kind and fair. Off you go. Let's make the world a place that's kind and fair. Fantastic, really, really brilliant. And then we move on to a new section. And this is slightly different because this is a pre-chorus and it's where you start to take this sentiment from here, which is what you want to do, and then we start talking about how we're going to do it. So this is a bit like a rallying call, this bit. Make a difference! So the way in which you sing it is going to be more, assertive. Come on, everybody. So this one, we're going to give it a slight more edge to it. So if you can just rap to me. 1, 2, make a difference. 1, 2, make a difference. Right, and so that's interesting. So you put the stress on the runs. And I think that the stress probably should go on the dip. So we go, make a difference. Yeah. Make a difference is different to make a difference. Yeah. It's know, stylistic. So, go. Make a difference. Off you go, 3, 4, 1. Make a difference. Excellent. So if we sing it in that way, make a difference. 3, 4. Make a difference. That's great. So the stress is on the D of difference, and you notice nothing's held on at all. Whenever you're working off score, and this is something that when you're asking me about what do you think about stylistically when you're writing, notating something that is written in a popular style is only ever an approximation of what it actually sounds like to sing, because you can't really capture on dots the nuances of this style of music. So what's really useful is to not be bound to this particular copy, but to take this as the guide, and then to add all of the things that actually make it feel stylistically appropriate. So it's just worth thinking about when you're teaching it. Don't feel tied to this completely. This is merely a map. So if we can try going, make a difference, say it clearly, I'm gonna be, and then we're going into the chorus, so we're going to give the B a bit of a crescendo, okay? So, and say it clearly, you're almost closing your mouth at the end of clearly, so we don't get a clearly, it's almost shut. Yeah, it's just clear. Right? So make a difference, 3, 4, 1. Make a difference, say it clearly, I'm gonna be. Great! And you see, we're just launching into what's going to be the main chorus. So we'll learn the unison version of this tune, and the unison version goes, be the change, and again, keep change quite short, but not too staccato. Be the change, off you go, and be the change. Fantastic. And if we can try and make sure that we've got all our body involved in singing, and that, again, if you're teaching young people, that there's no be going on, that you're sort of just keeping an eye out. Be the change, that everything is pinging out the top and not stretchy. So then what we're going to do is we're going to have an answer, these gospel stabs that I was talking about. So you're going to be the gospel-y people, if that's all right with any of you. Great. So if you can do the echo change, that'd be fantastic. So we've got, if we go, be the change, and then you can sing, change, if we're unising it. If we were going to add the harmonies, we've got change, change, change. Change. You're right. Honorary boy. So if we give you the call, can you respond with your gospel change? And also, I mean, if you wanted a hand action.
Oh, yes.
Change.
Every time.
Change. It goes down well. So if we start 3, 4, 1. Be the change, change. Oh, that's lovely. If we do being even shorter, there was a bit of change. Yeah. Change, change, change. It's all happening. I know. There we go. So shout out again. 3, 4, 1. Be the change, change. Great. Really, really good. Can we try and get even less air in it this time? So not change, in fact, try taking off the ch and just go ange. Be the change, ange. Sing me ange. Okay, 3, 4, 1. Be the change, ange. Great. Now that was the sound. So now put your ch back on. Don't throw a load of air in it. 3, 4, 1. Be the change, change. Great. Much better. Really, really good. There we go. Take away the ch. Try with ange. Fantastic. And then we have the same thing again. Be the change, change. And then we're into the main body of the chorus. So I'll sing, you copy. Again, we're not going to be too tight to what the dots say. We're going to try and get the feel of it. It goes, be the one who stands up proudly, whose voice is always strong. Be the one who stands up proudly, whose voice is always strong. Send your message out so loudly, make things right when they are wrong. Send your message out so loudly, make things right when they are wrong. Great, and at this point the unison version goes, wrap your arms around the world. And that's the first time we do any sort of legato singing in this. And it's because it's about giving the world a hug.
Aww.
I know. So we're going to do that really smoothly. Wrap your arms around the world. Off you go. Wrap your arms around the world. And then we go back. Yeah, you've got the backing vocals. Fantastic. So, let's try doing the be the one who stands up proudly and get that really nice and rhythmic. Again, if you want to feel where the beat is, that would be fantastic. And then we bring in this lovely legato for wrapping our arms around the world. Be the 1, 2, 3. Be the one who stands up proudly, whose voice is always strong. Send your message out so loudly, make things right when they are wrong. Wrap your arms around the world and be the change. Change. Beautiful. Fantastic. Then we've got another one of those moments where we get to actually pause and just have a bit of a sway. But there is also written in the score the option to do an ad-lib. There's one given on the recording, ooh, but actually it's an ad-lib. That's just my ad-lib. It could be anything that you want to. So it's a really nice opportunity within the piece to find some moments for children to do some improvisation in a relatively sort of safe frame.
So it could be a solo or together.
It could be anybody who's fancying having a little improv. But you've got there 4 bars before the next verse comes in, which it could have more than one ad-lib in it. It could have a group of children all sort of having a go, and that could change depending on what week you're singing with the children. Lovely. That's a nice thing to do. And then we're into another verse, and another chorus, and then, joy of joys, we're into a key change. Ooh. So, you can't write something called Be the Change
without
putting a key change. And
there's
there's not just one, but 2 key changes. Just something to notice, we won't sing all the way through, but just something to notice when you get to this key change bit, that there is a pivot note that helps you, so that you know where to go from. So we've got, wrap your arms around the world, wrap your arms. So actually, you're not having to locate yourself into a totally new key. That note sees you through. So it's worth just having a little go at that. Wrap your... Let's get our C back again. Okay, wrap your arms. If we just try it. 1, 2, 3. Wrap your arms around the world. Wrap your arms around the world. And then we're completely safe. Be the change, change. You're just in your new key without really having to have done too much negotiation there. The second key change is slightly more challenging than that because you have to go up a semitone. So this arms around the world, be the change. And that little bit there is probably one of the most challenging bits.
I mean, any advice about people who might hear that bit and be quite afraid? Is it a question of repeating it, playing the performance track a number of times, getting children used to that kind of key change? Any kind of things that you would suggest there?
Absolutely. I think first of all you need to know that it's going to happen, because if the children don't know it's going to happen, they'll just sing through their normal song and they won't hear that it's gone somewhere different, and then it'll just sound weird and they won't necessarily know why. So when we get to that section, I think playing the performance track through and seeing if the children can notice that something different has changed, and where does something different change, so that their ears are tuning into it. And then it's just a case of practicing that little turn there. I think again you could build it into your warm-up set. Be the change. If you know you're having to make this little pattern, then just make sure that you do a warm-up that's about exactly that, just singing semitones, so that it's not new to the children's voices.
There's also the echo track. People might find that helpful if they're wary of doing that corner response.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's really helpful. I think just listening to it lots and lots of times, and actually I think children will key into it quite well. It's just preparing and knowing that this is going to happen is the important bit.
Talk about it.
Shall we, do you want to have a little sing through? Have we got time to do that, to sing through?
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. So, world, do you now know this song? So, I'm hopeful that you do at least know Be the change, change. So even if you're not sure about the other bits, if you want to join in with that bit, that would be fantastic.
Should we do the harmonies?
I think absolutely. If you'd like to add in the harmonies,
Yeah.
you're a self-made girl.
Rip on.
Here we go. Let's go from the beginning, and if we can remember to try and feel the music all the way through. So we've always got a sense of it in our bodies. We're not completely still. You're sort of feeling.
sure that we have a say.
And sway, here we go. We are the future of this earth. We need to treasure it to know its worth. Let's be the ones who really care. Let's make this world a place that's kind and fair. Make a difference. Say clearly, I'm gonna be the change, change. Be the change, change. Be the one who stands up proudly, whose voice is always strong. Send your message out so loudly, make things right when they are wrong. Wrap your arms around the world and be the change, change. Yeah, be the change, change. Okay. Anybody that wants an improvisation, feel free. It's quite quiet, lovely. Here we go. Look after each and every one. With love and tolerance, you can't go wrong. Just lead the way and do what's right. Together we can make the future bright. Make a difference. Say clearly, I'm gonna be the change, change. Be the change, change. Be the one who stands up proudly, whose voice is always strong. Send your message out so loudly, make things right when they are wrong. Wrap your arms around the world. Wrap your arms around the world and be the change, change. Be the change, change. Be the one who stands up proudly, whose voice is always strong. Send your message out so loudly, make things right when they are wrong. Wrap your arms around the world, be the change. Be the change, the change, the change. Be the change, the change, the change. Be the change, the change, the change. Be the change. Great. So, fantastic. Oh, let's go this again. Relentless. So, that little outro bit is a really nice place to explore some harmony. And maybe if you don't explore harmony in any other bit, actually this outro is a really nice place to do it. And it could even be that you start with the outro before doing anything else and just try and layer up these because they're really nice. It's really singable and it makes a nice big sound quite quickly. And it's got this changing voice parts added. So we've got the be the change, gonna be the change. And again, that needs to be not going to be the change, gonna be the change. Again, the whole thing's pushed, the whole thing's got a bit of edge to the way you say it. And it's spoken, but again, range-wise, that's perfect for any sort of changing voices. The other thing was that it's got real bend in it. Be the change, the change, the change. Those are not the change, the change, the. They need that bendy bit to give it that real sense, and it's a fun thing to do. So if we maybe just had just a quick little look at that outro stylistically, and we just see the difference adding a bend can make. So if we all sing the be the change, and we sing it completely straight, just totally straight, off we go. Be the change, the change, the change. Great, it's beautiful, it's beautiful. But now let's just add some bends. We go, be the change, the change, the change. Off we go. Be the change, the change, the change. Right. First thing that happens is everybody's body moved, and the first time it didn't. Everybody did something, which is great. You're sort of really feeling it. And then let's just try doing that. Be the change, gonna be the change. And just, you know, imagine you're a 16-year-old boy. Here we go. 3, 4, 1. Be the change, gonna be the change. Change the change, gonna be the change. Fantastic, really great. And that's a piece, you could build this a cappella without using the backing track and just have this as something that you started developing your harmony work with.
We've just got some messages from our viewers.
Oh.
So Abigail Williams says, we're singing along from the sofa.
Excellent
That's
work.
fantastic. And Julie Hibbert has a question. My choir finds the bridge section quite hard as it is wordy. Any advice as to how to practice it with them?
The bridge section is wordy. Oh, be the one who stands up proudly. Yes. So, this is a funny thing to say, but try less hard. So, instead of be the one who stands up proudly, be the one who stands up proudly, whose voice is always strong. If you try less hard to produce this great big sound and sort of relax on it, it will be easier to sing. It's not meant to be sung with big full notes. It's far more rhythmic
So
than that.
lighter.
A bit lighter, and also get the rhythm is key. So when you actually get the rhythm comfortable, the words will follow. So a lot of rapping through. Be the one who stands up proudly, whose voice is always strong. The other thing that is useful, if you're working with slightly younger children, is to remember which order things happen in, is to stick an action in.
Yes.
Always good. So the one who stands up proudly, you just stand up proudly. Voice is always strong. Send your message out. So, in fact, I did this with a group of children, and it actually looked cool. With it said your message out so loudly, make things right when they are wrong, and again, just to help embed the words, sort of helps.
Great.
So, some rapping through, not pushing so much sound, and adding some actions would be my tips. Let us know if it works.
Thank you. Julie, let us know how you get on. Fabulous.
What would you like to do now?
So, we're going to carry on. I've got some questions to ask.
Okay.
So, for now, we'd like to say a very big thank you to our choir.
Right.
Thank you. And if we jump. Okay. That was lovely, thank you. I feel very energised and excited. I want to hear lots of members and non-members singing it.
It's lovely to sing it with other people. Because either I've been making the demo of it or been conducting other people. I don't get to do that. That was lovely.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. So a couple of questions that we have got through. I wanted to ask about people who work in a school with younger people. So I work in an infant school. How can I get involved? What would you suggest for people working with younger age children?
So again, starting with the hooky bit. So playing the song through, having the song being played as other things are happening. So perhaps to begin with, it's just a song that's played as you walk into assembly, that perhaps you aren't immediately learning it. Perhaps it's just a bit of subliminal stuff that goes on. And then sort of identifying the hooks, so the be the change, and just do that bit, small bite-sized chunks, I think.
Brilliant.
If having so many different verses is too difficult and there's too much to read, concentrate on one verse and just repeat. Just, break it down. And also use the unison version. Don't worry too much about the harmonies. But actually what you can do is to give it a bit of interest, and this is nice with infants, is to treat that echo bit as an echo. So split the whole group in half and have some of them going, be the change, change. And then you actually get two parts singing, but what you're not doing is doing any sort of parallel harmony. That works nicely as an actual piece, as an echo.
Brilliant. Thank you. I'm the only music coordinator in a big school. Where should I start?
Well, I'm a big fan of whole school singing. This is a great song to do for whole school singing if you are lucky enough to have that. If it is just you in a school, then presumably the opportunity to get everybody together is a good use of your time to be able to see as many people as you can at once.
Yeah.
And again, it might be that you taught bits of the song to different bits of the school and then used that assembly time to bring it all together. So perhaps year 6 sing, the verses, and perhaps they do the harmony bits, and everybody else sings the choruses. Pick some soloists out like we did with our choir. and sort of see it as a flexible thing that you can pull apart and use the bits that you don't have to do the whole song with everybody. Make it fit your school. And also, if you are the only person in a school doing music, use this as an opportunity. Like Sing Up Day is a great opportunity to involve your whole community. So rather than it just feeling like it's you in the school, use Sing Up Day to say, right, everybody, staff, dinner staff, TAs, Burster, in you come, we're all going to sing because it's Sing Up Day and this is about celebrating singing, and then it just will take away the loneliness of being the one.
Yes, good advice. And the other side of that is I want to teach Be the Change to my secondary choir. So somebody who's got a lot more pupils at their disposal who might be confident singers and are able to tackle harmony. What would you suggest for those situations?
Well, it is fully scored, so actually you could use it. I mean, because it's also catchy, it's quite a good introduction into sight reading, even if you are not hugely confident at sight reading. And actually print off the vocal-only part and allocate your singers and see if they can sight read in the harmonies. It would be good practice for them. Also, make more of the ad-lib sections, make more of that outro. I mean, it could be that you carry on that outro long past the music having finished, and you just finish and have like a sort of a gospel outro that goes on, and an a cappella thing, get some clapping going.
Oh, like it.
Yeah. Try and do an a cappella version. It's always fun.
We've got another question from a viewer. Shelley Ambry says, any suggestions for how to get pupils to work together towards a nice blend of voices?
So, just like we were looking at, the way you end a word, the way you start a word, and then actually what happens to the word in the middle. But they're three separate activities, actually. You know, one word has got these three things that you need to negotiate: how you start it, how you end it, and then how you do the middle bit of the word. And actually, everybody's got their own way of doing things, so breaking stuff down and focusing on it. So if you think about the word change, you actually have to get a ch, and that has to be together. So, you know, be the change, you know, be the change. And again, clear direction.
I was about to ask, actually, we'll touch on conducting, but yeah, okay.
The A sound, there's so many ways you
Dialects,
can, absolutely, so many things you can do with that vowel sound. And actually, as the leader, it's sort of your job to decide what sound it is that you want from your choir, and then guide them to it. So chair, I would always want a nice open sound, and then the change, and it's the j right at the very end. And just putting those in the right place will give you a much more cohesive sound. Putting that ending together really made a difference when we all came all together in the right way. So sometimes it can be about falling off a note together, gives you the right blend and stylistic sound. So there'll always be a reason why. Why? No, because you know what you wanted to do, but actually it's all in the leading.
So that's the question, really. And when I saw you teach it to a group of people when we had some training here, you were talking about conducting, and actually the point of conducting as such, in terms of being the vocal leader, sometimes, you know, keeping time might not be the most helpful thing. Sometimes it's about really honing in on what you want to hear and pinpointing those moments. How would you suggest people use kind of conducting skills or being at the front to do that?
I think what you just said is absolutely right in terms of beating time, not necessarily being constructive. Especially if you're working with, if you're working with a backing track, you don't need to worry. That's not going to go out of time. You hope. You know, it's there. It's a thing. That's just going to run. So actually, your job is to make sure that choir in front of you know when to come in, when to come off, whether that they're growing that note, whether it's a smaller note, whether it's something like with the wrap your arm. I mean, everybody makes up their own signals, but there's something that your choir gets used to doing, that you know, when you make a very small sound, this is what you're going to look like, and when it's a legato, what your body is going to do. But essentially, you're sort of a map for the sound that you want to hear, and you're just there to remind your singers what to be doing. But actually doing this throughout that particular song, it just doesn't lend itself. Even moving and keeping a sense of 2 and 4 will have more impact, because your singers will reflect back what you're doing, and you'll get that sense of, again, going back to Shelley's question, you'll get that sense of togetherness, because you'll be moving as one, because they'll be echoing what you're doing.
There's a sense of togetherness, and there's also a sense of performance. And I know that we often get questions from our members about how do you make a performance really strong. You've worked a long time at learning the song, you've got some harmony in it, you've got some really enthusiastic singers. What are the kind of tweaks you can make to really polish your performance?
So I think I'm a huge believer that you've actually got to mean what it is that you're singing or saying. You know, fundamentally, why does anybody sing anything? It's communication. You're trying to say something to somebody. So you need to go. I would go back to the words. In fact, I've done this with a group that I was teaching. Once we sort of had the basics in place, it was like, right. So somebody tell me, what can you change? What do you want to change? What is it that you would do that would make a difference? And we sort of had a bit of a sort of PSHE moment, you know, a 5-minute conversation about the things. A boy said to me, he said, I would make buildings more colourful. I was like, great! He said, imagine how much happier people would be if they walked out and all the buildings were different colours. It's like, brilliant, you know. But so he had that in his mind then when he was singing and thinking about actually the notion that you can make a change. What would you want to do? So finding connection to the lyric, I think, is really important for any performance. And then as a group, you know that everybody's focus is going to be in the same place. You're going to communicate the same thing. I think not being frightened of movement is another really important thing. And again, that's about you as a leader, empowering your young singers to feel like they don't have to sit still and behave. That if what happens is the music comes on and they feel it.
That's okay.
You know, it's great.
Yeah.
If music is making you jiggle around, brilliant.
Yes.
And just, you know, again, feeling that 2 and 4 and moving together it'll only enhance your performance.
Well, this year we have had some choreography made especially for Sing Up Day, and so that's something that people can go and download, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. As well as you mentioned earlier, focusing on the lyrics, and we've got a pupil pack that has a number of activities for children of different ages that uses the lyrics as a springboard into those activities.
Great.
I was just going to, I think we have time for another question before we talk a little bit about where to find Sing Up resources. I was going to ask about, when you're teaching popular styles, given that our hot topic tonight is all about style, what tips and techniques do you use for a rock style, a pop style, a country style, a classical style? What kind of advice can you give to vocal leaders when they're approaching different styles of singing?
I think fundamentally, make sure that whatever you're doing is done with safe technique, that you're not sort of asking your children to do anything that is going to be dangerous.
Great, so vocal health is
really important.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, yes, Bon Jovi sounds like Bon Jovi, but a 9-year-old child probably shouldn't sound like Bon Jovi. So don't try and make them sound like Bon Jovi. But having said that, what is it about what he is doing that you can then translate into safe singing for young people? So, like we did,
inspiration.
Absolutely, but not trying to copy. So, why is Adele Adele? And how can you take the things that she does, but ensure that you're doing them in a way that's appropriate for your young singers? It's going to look after their voices. So, like we were doing, like we tried the change, which might be appropriate for one style, but actually what we wanted was a more popular sound. Yes. So we bent it, change, but that very thing, that's completely healthy. That is a warm-up that you could do, being able to slide up and down your range. So it's just taking the essence of something, but then making sure it's safe for your children.
It's also about giving young people and children that opportunity, because often, you know, they learn very traditional or kind of straight techniques. I went into a setting once and we kind of slid, as you know, did a bit of sirening, and they looked really shocked. Well, we don't do that in choir. We're not supposed to slide up to a note.
Yeah.
And it's understanding that there are certain situations where that might be appropriate, or that it might be okay to do that because it calls for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And being selective about what you're going to do, and not approaching everything. I mean, you wouldn't paint every picture the same colour. So why would you sing every song the same way? It's exactly the same thing, that you just need to pick the sounds that suit the song. And if you are unsure about what is healthy singing and how to approach healthy singing. There are loads of really great things on there on Sing Up.
Yeah,
That you can actually, there are guides to safe singing and vocal health, and also links to take you to other places if you want to delve a bit deeper into what's actually going on with your voice.
Inside the voice.
Absolutely. But I think, you know, if you're not sure, don't tackle anything that might seem too out there. Just keep it, you know, safe and natural.
That's some brilliant advice. Thank you so much, Emily. Lots of nuggets of really great advice and information there. I just wanted to point friends and members to where you can find all our resources. We've got lots of resources for you, so please get involved. It's all free, so you can log on as a friend or as a member, and you need to go to www.singup.org/singupday. That's all as one word. And specifically for our resources, it's www.singup.org/SUD resources. You can download the song. There are a number of audio tracks that you'll find. There's a range of scores and teaching notes. If you're doing an event, please plot it on our map. It might be that you're singing with your pupils in choir, in an assembly, you might be doing a flash mob outside, you might be doing a singing carousel throughout your school day, you might be singing it in your community, so please get involved. Make sure that you video your recording of Be the Change and send it in to us so that you can be part of our DigiChoir this year. We've also got a vocal leader pack with lots of resources to help you create a really memorable day. We've got assembly plans, instrumental ideas, and we've also got a pupil pack, and that's got a range of activities for pupils of different ages, all based on the lyrics of the song, the message in the song, and as a springboard into some activities that they might want to get involved with in the classroom. This year we have specially commissioned a BSL signed video from Andy Higgins, so be sure to go and watch that. And Louise Jaggard from Jumpstart Dance has done our choreography a video. As ever, please make sure you tweet us and find us and like us on Facebook. You can find out more at #SUHotTopics on our site, and make sure that you follow us on Facebook so that you're notified of any future events. If you'd like to find out more about Emily Barden, you can go to www.emilybarden.com, or her Twitter handle is @BardenMusic. So, finally, all is left for me to say a really great big thank you to all of our viewers for joining us this evening. A very big thank you to our choir, to Hannah, Emily and Claire for joining in so willingly, and most of all, thank you to Emily Barden for being here, for joining us, for teaching us the song. Elena behind the camera has been really busy creating lots of digital resources, so I know that we're going to really enjoy Sing Up Day this year. So please join us, make sure you get involved, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Thanks and bye-bye.